Welcome back to the next Android Studio tutorial. In this video, I'll be giving you a basic overview of Android Studio environment for project development. And we will also be building a small Android application where we will be adding two numbers taken from the user. So first, when we launch our new Android Studio project, we land on this screen. This screen is basically the activity screen of an Android application. What is an activity screen? Well, it is basically the front end, or it is just the screen that is displayed to the user for interaction. And all the backend work is coded in Java or in Kotlin in Android Studio, where we define our logic for our application. On the left side of your screen, you can see a project overview. This overview is in Android mode right now. You can also switch to project, which show the folder view of your Android files. We'll be sticking with Android because this is the fastest navigation and easy for us to manage also. As you can see, the first folder is manifest. It contains an Android manifest.xml file. In this file, the important instruction for the Android system are stored on how to run your application. You cannot delete this file, nor you can rename it to anything else. It is very important for Android application to run on any Android system. We sure can edit, take hardware permissions, and to make changes on how to run our Android application. The next folder contains all your .java files that we will code later on in the project. The next folder is generated Java. Well, this folder contains the build configuration for generating the package of your Android application, that is the .apk file. It is automatically generated by Android Studio and you don't need to change anything in it. The last folder is the rest folder. It contains all the resources that are required in your Android application. The first folder is the drawable folder under rest. It contains all your images, icons, and everything. The next folder is your layout folder. It contains all the layouts of your Android application, that is your frame layouts or your activity layouts and etc. So this is our main activity that we landed on first. So for making our Android application, we need to first design the front end of the application so that we can use the front end to code in backend also. So as you can see, this is a design view of your application and this is the blueprint view of your Android application. You can choose to edit in any one of them, or you can also choose to see any one of them also. So you can click this icon here and click and select any one of them. Now I'm going to select design here. We see a hello world, just delete that. Here you can see a palette of Android elements. You can use this. These are already predefined and easy to use and develop. Okay, so to enter a number, we need a edit text that takes number as an input only. So as you can see, under text we have number. Just drag this anywhere on the screen. We are currently in a constraint layout. In this layout, we need to define constraints to each element to give its position on the screen. So on how we do that is basically drag the elements boundaries to the screen boundary and we can reposition it anywhere. We have 4 circular icons to apply constraints on the 4 directions of an element. To place a constraint, to place an element anywhere in the screen, we need to define at least 2 constraints for its positioning. If you don't do this, on runtime, your elements will just shift to the top left corner of the screen. So here, I'm going to drag this element here and I'm going to take another element for insertion of number 2, and you can also bound position elements relative to another element instead of the boundary of the screen. So as you can see, I took the top constraint of this element and I changed it to the bottom of this element, as you can see. So I'm going to position it here. Now we need a button to tell the user or to ourselves, to the programmer, to add these two numbers that are entered by the user. So here's a button. We also need to position this. Now for result screen, we also need to put a text view. A text view is basically where you can display text. It is not edited by the user or inputted by the user. You can change the size of it. Let's position this here. This is okay. So for the first, to know which element we are taking the value from, we need to give some ID to the element. So I'm going to give it number 1. The next element is going to be number 2. We name the button, give the ID to the button, add, and in the text view we're going to give an ID result. We will be displaying the result in this. So in the text view, I'm just going to change the size of what the text will be displayed. So it's basically just going to display a result here, and so I can just remove the text, and in the button it's going to say add, of course, since we are adding. And in numbers, so we're going to give a hint to the user as to what he needs to enter here. So he needs to enter the number 1 there and number 2 here. And when he clicks add button, we will display the addition of these two numbers in the result box. So now we go on to editing our Java file. First, we make variables that are of the same types that are the elements are of. So our input text are type of edit text. So we create edit text number 1, number 2, and then we have a button. Button, add a text view will show the result. Now we need to link these variables to the element in our XML file. To do that, we need to assign these variables to the ID of those elements. We do that by using the find view by ID function. We give r.id. R represents res and the ID in the current view, which was given as number 1, and we do the same for number 2. ID dot number 2. Same goes for button. And then we have the result. Okay, now we need to extract the text from these numbers inputs and add these and display them in the result. So now what we need to do is take the number from the user when the button is clicked. So now how do we know the button is clicked? Well, there are two ways of doing that. First way is go to the XML activity, XML file, click on the button. We have a attribute called onClick. We have a button called onClick attribute. We can specify the function in the Java file which will be called automatically when the button is clicked, and we can specify the function name here. Or the other way is, as we have linked the button here to the add variable, we can simply set on click listener to this on click listener. So this function will be called whenever the user will click on the button. So here in view.onClickListener, and now when the button is clicked, the control will be passed inside this onClick function under setOnClickListener. So first we need to extract the text that was taken from number 1 and number 2. So we declare a variable called n1 which will store the integer value. It can be float also, so we'll take float, or double would be nice. We'll take number 1, we'll name something else, n1 is equal to, now we need to get the integer value of the text that is coming from the input field, which is from number 1 dot get text dot to string. So what will happen here, when the get text function is called, from the number 1 variable which is linked to the number 1 input field, which we assigned the ID to this field. So whatever the user enters here, it will be stored in double of n1, double n1 of double type. So another variable double n2 is equal to integer, where we should type the, instead of integer, double here, double, again double dot value of number 2 dot get text dot to string. After we have this, we can add these numbers and store it in another variable called add is equal to n1 plus n2. And now we can assign the result of add in the text view that we made in the activity file. So we use the variable that is linked to the text view, that is result dot set text, and we just pass the variable here. Set text. Oh yeah, we need to convert it into string also. So now it's good. Did we miss the bracket? Yes. Okay, as you can see, we are ready with it. We'll just click run. So here we can just type in a number, let's say 35, 32, click add. Okay, as you can see, the result is displayed here. Congratulations, and we will be building a calculator, a proper calculator, in the next upcoming videos. So like and subscribe, and thank you very much.